There's three different types of keywords. There's head terms, body terms, and then long tail. People say different names. Head terms are the most basic term. It's usually one or two words. It's like dog. That's the head term. Dog is the term. If you search it on Google, it probably gets millions of volume. There's probably millions of people competing for that term as a result because it's so heavily searched, but it's not very specific and it's very low likelihood that you're going to get a conversion from it. That's what a head term is. Lots of traffic, lots of competition, low conversion, and not very specific to anything. Then you get into body terms, which are a little bit expanded. Now, this might become like dog leash or dog food or dog grooming. So it becomes a little bit more specific. Now, within dog, there's many different things you can do, right? When you search for the keyword dog food, you're going to get vastly different results because now you're becoming a little bit more specific. What happens with this is that when you become more specific, the search volume goes down. You can imagine that a lot more people search dog than they do dog food. So the volume goes down. The competition also goes down relatively because now you're not competing against people who own dog groomers or people who could write about dog information or dog walkers or all these other dog leashes, dog toys, blah, blah, blah. You're not competing against any of that anymore. Now you're only competing within the dog food category. Competition goes down a little bit as well. Conversion goes up because it's a little bit more specific, but still it's quite low in terms of conversion because dog food, people might just be wanting to learn about it or etc. There's still a lot of informational intent with those keywords. It's not very commercial. And there was one last thing. It's becoming a little bit more relevant. Whereas dog is completely irrelevant, it's becoming a little bit more specific about what the person is searching for. And then the last term that you have is a long tail keyword. These terms usually are more than three words. They tend to be either questions or very descriptive queries, just expanding on the dog example. If dog is the head term, dog food is the body term. A long tail version of the body term would be dog food for golden retrievers or dog food for small golden retrievers or what dog food can my border collie eat? Now it becomes even more specific, right? And I give you both a commercial as well as a informational intent long tail keyword, which could be used. Now it becomes more specific. We can imagine that this term gets a lot less search volume than dog itself. Food for small golden retrievers gets a lot less search volume than dogs itself. So the volume is lower, the competition vastly drops when you're competing against these terms. There's so many different variations. So competition drops, conversion goes up very high because people are being a lot more specific about what they want. They understand what they want and they're kind of closer to that conversion phase. Then the relevancy of it is through the roof. They're asking you exactly what they're looking for. There's no thinking about what they're searching for. That is what a head term, a body term, and a long tail term are. They're just different types of keywords. And the other thing I would say is that there's a lot more long tail keywords to target than there are any other types of keywords. Every single search is very unique. People are very specific about what they search. That's why you want to be targeting. Most of your keywords are going to be long tail because you want to be very specific. You want to answer their specific questions. That's why everyone's always like, oh, you got to target long tail terms because there's no competition for them usually. And there's so many of them that you can go after. So you can really make a dent even with a brand new website.